Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the news report of 9.1.5. What we have today is a new batch of additions planned for 9.1.5. We have some new things, some brand new things, as well as some continuation of the additions that we knew already, and now we have more info about it. So let's go and start looking at it, because there is a lot of stuff that we have to talk about. As you already know, 9.1.5 is a quality of life patch. It is a mid-tier patch. It's not one of the big ones with tons of new content. It's supposed to make several things easier or quicker or better. So some of the things that were very important for this patch were the catch-up systems, the mechanisms for you to pull up a character to current level, to the current patch level much quicker, as well as, because Blizzard is planning to allowing players to freely swap between covenants, also the ability for your main, not just your alts, to get to different covenants and basically level them up quicker. Because right now, if you have not played a covenant yet, ever, you have that covenant at Renown level 1, you have no buildings in that covenant, you have no followers in that covenant, you have no anima stockpiled, and you have also not done any of the campaign. You would have in front of you, as soon as 9.1.5 launches, for example, if you have only stayed with a single covenant so far in the expansion, you would have in front of you the daunting task of having to grind 240 renown split amongst 3 different covenants, or over 100 followers split amongst 2 different covenants, as well as the buildings, etc, etc. So we already had some hints and some preludes to what could happen in 9.1.5 to make this faster. We already knew that if you have completed any of the Covenant storylines with one of your characters with a Covenant, it will be able to be freely skippable with any other character. So if you are a Ventir player and one of your alts has played Kyrian in 9.1.5, your Ventir player can go over to Kyrian and not have to do any of the campaign. On top of that, you will still be given all of the renown you would have gained if you did that campaign storyline. So you would not be missing out on the 10-something renown you would have been awarded. The same goes for the Korthia campaign. If your main character has completed the Korthia campaign, that is also going to be skippable on any of your alts. What we also know about for sure now, this was only a speculation before, what we know for sure is that you can now send anima to your alts. There is going to be a bind on account item that will allow you to trade 250 anima. Yes, I know, don't worry. You're like, I have 70,000 anima and I have to buy an item for 250. That is stackable hundreds of times. All you have to do is shift click on it and get it in the hundreds, so it's going to be much quicker. What is interesting about this item is the same thing I mentioned the first time we heard about this possibility. What happens? What happens if you buy a stockpile of these? Don't send them to any alts, because now they are a bind on account item. You just buy them, keep them in your inventory, and then you go over to Ventir from Kyrian. Your Ventir has 0 anima, your reservoir of anima is empty, and then you just fill the reservoir with all of these items you have stockpiled. This would also allow you not just to send it to your alts, but also to send anima in between covenants of the same character. Of course, it's kind of a convoluted way. What I was wishing before was to have a global amount of anima shared amongst all of the covenants, always. This way, you know, it's a little bit more clunky. You have to buy the items and then send them over to a different covenant to then put them in the sanctum, but still, it would work the same way, especially because as of right now, I don't want to jinx it, but as of right now, there is no penalty. You spend 250 anima to get an item that gives you 250 anima. There is no penalty, there is no cut to buy that. It's not that you have to spend 250 to get 200. Right? It's a one-to-one transaction for now. The other part related to making things quicker, faster, and easier is the broker mark of distinction. This is going to be an item which will allow to increase the renown of your currently active covenant to 40. This was the most logical thing I talked about when we were discussing what to do to try to make it faster, to try to make leveling up the different covenants faster, because of course, once 9.1.5 launches, your main is renown 80, sure, you can swap amongst all the different covenants. Sure, Blizzard will allow you to skip the Covenant campaign as well, which is also great, but at the end of the day, you will still start with 1 renown. It will still be very far back. So the most logical guess was that 9.0, the first tier of the expansion, went from Renown 1 to Renown 40, and 9.1 is going from Renown 40 to Renown 80. So the easy cutoff, the easy catch-up cutoff was to give you the renown that you would have gotten at the start of the patch, essentially at 9.1, where your character was maxed at 40 renown. So this is very good. This means that as soon as you swap, as soon as you change Covenant, you will be able to get all of the soulbinds maxed already. Not empowered, sure, but who cares? At least they are fully available and all 3 soulbinds fully expanded in their 3s. What is also interesting, I am not sure if it is going to work this way, but remember, you are also going to be given the renown for skipping the campaign for your Covenant. So, assuming you are Ventir, renown level 80, and you respect to Kyrian, you buy this thing, you use it, and now your Kyrian is renown 40. But at the same time, when you go over to start your campaign, you can choose to skip it entirely, and you should be given, as we said, you should be given all of the renown that that campaign would have given you. So effectively, you would be getting to about 50 renown. Even more, if you are on an alt who hasn't even done the Korthia campaign yet, you can also skip the Korthia campaign for another 10 or so renown. So if it works as intended, and if it works as it is alluded to, you would actually be able to get 60 renown on your alts very, very quickly, and about 50 renown on your main very, very quickly when you're swapping Covenants. Because, of course, your main has already done the Korthia campaign, so he won't be able to get the renown of the Korthia campaign because he got it already. Those are 2 pretty good quality of life changes. We also have other quality of life changes. These are not strictly related to the time it's going to take you to get up to current level all of the different Covenants, but more in general. One, which I am very happy about, is the Redeemed Souls quest. Because the Redeemed Souls, as we know, was already being implemented to be repeatable. So you can also do it again, because of course, now that you can go to 4 different Covenants, you will also need the Redeemed Souls to go for all the buildings in all the different Covenants. And if you're only getting 20 a week, it's going to take you forever to get all of the buildings in all of the different Covenants you haven't been in yet. So Blizzard thought of that by making it repeatable. However, there is a problem. Redeem Soul quest is shit, because you can only do it in the Maw. And it's annoying, because why would you want to go in the Maw? There is nothing to do in the Maw. The 9.1 is sending you to Korthia, so you would have to just go back in the Maw to click on 20 souls every time, which is just annoying. So Blizzard has found a solution, which is nice, because I didn't even think of that. When I was thinking about a solution for this was to just add clusters of souls, like 3 or 5 that you can pick at once, or perhaps put some souls in Korthia. Since you want to be in Korthia anyways, at least you can also get the souls while you're doing your daily stuff in Korthia. Blizzard instead thought of this: rescuing souls within Torghast, Tower of the Damned, now earn credit for return lost souls. This is amazing. This is amazing because now this quest becomes a non-issue every week, because if you're doing Torghast every week, this will be done every week very, very easily. Not only that, but since it's repeatable, you can pretty much click on 20 souls on your first wing of Torghast, go pick the repeatable quest of Redeem Souls after you turned in the first one, go into the second wing of Torghast and complete another Redeem Souls quest. So now, basically, without any extra effort at all, you can get double Redeemed Soul quest every week just by doing Torghast. So that's already going to speed up the process of these quests. If you want, you can go into more Torghast runs to get even more souls, if you really want to get all of the buildings up very quickly. Talking about Torghast, there is another quality of life change which will go in Torghast to give you even more incentive to do Torghast every week, more often than just a couple of times, which is repeatedly completing wings now awards the full amount of Soulash. Before, if you completed a wing after getting full Soulash, if you did it again, you would only get 20% of the maximum amount. You were only getting some 300 something Soulash. But Soulash is old. Soulash is not that needed, right? The more important one is repeatedly completing wings now awards the full amount of Soul Cinders, up from none after the first clear, right? Soul Cinders was capped. You would get your 180 at layer 12 from one wing, and then your 180 from layer 12 on the other wing, and you were done for the week. In 9.1.5, there is not going to be any more limit to Soul Cinders. This is not only good because it allows you to craft legendaries much faster. Once you can play multiple covenants, you can also have access to multiple covenant-specific legendaries, for example. What this is also good for is that Soul Cinders can also be used to buy a socket for 1000 Soul Cinders. So even if you didn't need to craft extra legendaries, you might still want it, you might still need it for getting your sockets. Not only that, but in 9.1.5, we have gotten a significant increase in the amount of Soul Cinders awarded in the new layers, layer 8 to 12, Moa Souls, Tormentors of Torghast, and Command Stable Mission. This is roughly doubled. We have gotten reports already that people are getting above over 350 Soul Cinders just for completing one layer 12 of Torghast. So completing your weekly will now give you basically double Soul Cinders, 700 instead of 360 basically. And now that is repeatable if you want to. So these all together are pretty quick ways to level up your other covenants that you haven't played yet, with crafting whatever legendaries you want, getting multiple Redeem Soul quests to get all of the buildings up to level. So I think it is pretty good. So far, all of these changes are very nice. They are touching most of the things I was worried about when we were notified of the possibility of swap multiple covenants. Now you can use your anima that you have been stockpiling on your main covenant and send it over to the other covenants you want to play, because now there is the bind on account item, so you can buy the item and then turn it in on a different covenant. You have the repeatable quest of Redeem Souls, which allows you to build all of the buildings on all of the covenants you want to gear up, you want to level up very quickly, because it can now be done in Torghast. It can be repeatable in Torghast very, very quickly and very easily, which is exactly what I wanted. As I said, I wanted to see you being able to get more currencies, more of the many currencies spread throughout the game in the same activity at once. So in this case, the redeemed soul currency is being put into Torghast. So now Torghast will not only give you Soul Cinders and Soul Ash, it will also give you redeemed souls, which is cool, because now you don't get to go out of your way to grind the maw for souls anymore. Now the Redeem Soul quest is going to be basically free inside of Torghast. And Torghast is going to feel subsequently better to do, because you are also progressing your character in multiple ways at the same time. I still have my war, I still have my fight against Grateful Offerings, which need to be removed from the game. I hope, considering how well 9.1.5 has been progressing, I hope this is going to be an announcement left for last, that I would be very happy if that were the case. Another tiny quality of life, which is coming too late. I'm sorry to be negative about this one. Venari has decided to add to her teleporter two extra avenues. One is the Desmoteron and the other one is Perdition Hold. Of course, the Desmoteron is very important because that's where the raid is. Yes, that should have happened at 9.1, not like 4 months later or something. That raid entrance was in a very, very annoying place, I have to say. Now, on to the juicy part of the video. The juicier part of the video, the things that we didn't know about, because all of these things were mostly, speculated, possible, hinted at in previous announcements and previous leaks and data mining that has happened for 9.1.5. This one was a little bit more up in the air. So what we knew about this situation was that we had this one, this thing right here, which is the Mage Tier 20 Recolored. And then we had this one, which is the Paladin Tier 20 Recolored. So the question was, Blizzard is releasing in 9.1.5 Legion Time Walking for Mythic Plus. Okay, well, these are tier 20 sets from Tomb of Sargeras, and Blizzard is adding Legion Time Walking. So Legion, Tomb of Sargeras is in Legion, so it makes sense that these tier sets are going to be the rewards for the new activity, the new activity that Blizzard is going to launch. Now, we have gotten more stuff since then. We have seen this one, which is a very cool Shadow Priest themed rework of the tier 20 for the Priest. Very, very nice. We also have the Warrior one, which is now more Paladin-esque in color palette for their tier 20 recolor. We have gotten the Clown set, which is the Hunter set, recolored to some bizarre choices of palette, honestly. And then you have the last one, the currently best one, easily, by a landslide, which is the Warlock recolor. Bright red tier 20 recolor, which is of course the tier 6 recolor from Black Temple. Okay, fine, but still, where are these gonna come from? Are these gonna come from Legion Mythic Plus Time Walking still? So we've gotten some interesting thing in this data mining because portals have been data mined. Some of these portal names are a little bit too suspiciously close to something that we have gotten in the past, like having a teleport to the God Queen scenario, or maybe even the teleport to the Imp Mother's Den, or maybe the teleport to the Healer scenario. So given that there is a fight in this thing called Mage Tower Challenge, called the God Queen's Fury, where you have to defeat God Queen Sigrin, and now you data mined a teleport called Teleport to the God Queen scenario, it looks like too close to be a coincidence, right? Even the teleport to the Imp Mother's Den for the challenge An Impossible Foe, which required you to defeat Imp Mother Agatha. All of these are, of course, challenges available in the Mage Tower Challenge. So why would these teleports be added in this preliminary version of the PTR? Also, why would Blizzard be balancing, or rather rebalancing, all of these challenges out of nowhere in 9.1.5, right? Because that's what they have been doing. All of these challenges are getting their numbers retuned at the moment in 9.1.5. So previously, the most logical answer for these tier 20 Recolored tier sets was, well, Legion, Mythic Plus, Time Walking. That's the only Legion thing we have there. Now, however, with the possibility of the Mage Tower Challenge, it would be a much closer possibility, because the Mage Tower Challenge was in the tier 20. The Mage Tower Challenge was in the Broken Shore, was where Tomb of Sargeras was, which is where these tier sets were coming from. So it's like playing darts, it's like playing curling, you know. Previously, the closest dart to the bullseye was Legion Mythic Plus Time Walking, because it was the one that made the most sense. But now, there is a new outsider dart, the Mage Tower Challenge dart, which has gotten much closer to the bullseye of the tier 20 sets from Tomb of Sargeras, since the Mage Tower Challenge is coming from straight up the same patch that Tomb of Sargeras was released in. So it could be a possibility that Blizzard is going full-on Legion flavor with this 9.1.5 patch. Not only are they thinking about the Legion Mythic Plus Time Walking and Recolored tier sets from Legion, they're also planning on making use of the Mage Tower Challenge again. So that would be very, very exciting if it were to come. Of course, actually, from the amount of comments I've seen related to this, it is more likely that more people are going to get disappointed, because by the comments, it looks like people expect artifact appearances to come back. So they're like, I would be super happy if the Mage Tower Challenge is coming back, because I am missing some of these appearances, or because I didn't play in Legion and I couldn't get them. So I get the feeling that if this is not explained rather quickly, that there are not going to be artifact appearances coming back, it might actually end up making people more disappointed than happy. Or perhaps both of these things are going to come at once. Perhaps the appearances are going to stay there, and on top of that you might be getting the tier set recolors. That one we actually don't know about. So these were all of the most important things we have gotten so far in the last big batch of PTR notes that came up today. I want to finish the list of news for 9.1.5 with a victory for Raiders, because acquirer Tagosh in the Hall of Curiosities now sells a gateway control shard that lets you activate the nearest demonic gateway. Now, as I have read from many people who don't raid, they were all question marking this line of text. What does this even mean? What does this even do? What's the purpose of this? The purpose of this is to give you an item that you can put on your key bindings to insta-activate the closest gateway. This means you won't need to focus target your gateway, and you won't need to press interact with keybind mouse over macro to click on the gateway anymore. You will just be able to get this item and click it whenever you're close to a gateway. That is very, very good for raiders, because it's going to make your life much easier. You won't need to have the entire fight cucked by having to keep a gateway on focus, so it's going to be much, much better. And to be impartial, since I closed with this bit for raiders, I am going to pair this together with something more relatable to casuals as well as altoholics and people leveling up multiple characters, which is players can now purchase versions of Korthian armaments that create a piece of gear for specific slots. you can now buy them based on the item, the slot you have missing, for example, rather than having to play the lottery and trying to see if you can get the final ring or the final chest that you haven't gotten yet. Now you can just target the item from a vendor. So this was all for today. These were all of the news, besides a few bits of balance tuning, which we will be looking at in a separate video eventually. For now, we can stop here. Thank you guys for watching the video. If you have enjoyed the content and want to support the channel, you might want to like the video, leave a comment down below, and ask permission to your nanny if you can subscribe to the channel. See you guys soon, and in the meantime, my nanny said you can subscribe, but only if you completed 4 keys in Sanguine and Necrotic Week, so I told her to fuck off, just for your sake.